I joined Kelly in 2007, and in about mid-2007, there's a hiccup in ad operations. Ad operations didn't report into business operations at the time, and it really slowed the business down for a while. There really was no control. I mean, they said the wild, wild west, but we hear that all the time, and sales is sales, and we want them to be the wild, wild west, or we wouldn't have jobs. Insufficient traffic and fulfillment volumes, archaic processes, obsolete OMS. I didn't know what some of these things even meant back then. But one thing I did see, there was zero integration across any system. And being a consultant at heart, when you don't have systems talking to each other, that tells me you've got more than a technology problem. You've got a process problem, and you probably have a people problem. And you sure have a funding problem because you haven't done things to really scale your business. And so you really have to attack it from multiple angles. You can't just always throw bodies at it. But we had to start with people first, and we knew that. But the one thing I knew from my consulting background, there's no way we're going to do what this company needs to grow internally. You've got to spend time building relationships and developing trust with the people you work with. And for me and Melissa, that was her and I together. So we reached out, and just by happenstance, got in touch with Operative through a sales rep on something completely different, had no idea who they were, what they were. But the email grabbed me enough to say, okay, I will have a conversation with you. And from that conversation, we ended up engaging, I think, 8 months later in a managed services agreement. The only people in the organization that Melissa and I had to convince were her team. Because at Kelley Blue Book, you know, we'd done things the same way forever. They weren't ready to challenge. They weren't really ready because no one had inspired them that it's okay to take that next step. It's okay to come up with ideas. And you know what? It's okay to partner with somebody to help you out. But every one of them had the fear of, the word's outsourcing me, I lose my job. So over time, we started working with Operative to say, we need to have you help us create flexibility in our capacity. We can't handle what's happening at month end anymore. We can't handle these random requests that come in to say, take my national ad and break it down to the county. So one ad becomes, 60,000 ads. We can't do that. We need you to help with that. And let me tell you, it was difficult. But instead of treating him as a vendor, we treated him like a partner. We treated him like a friend that we have a relationship with. And sometimes you have great conversations, and sometimes you have challenging conversations. But I truly believe if you engage with those that are going to help make you successful in that way, complexity does disappear, and you can really root out who's good and who's not. We spent the time together. We developed processes, thanks again, Preeti, because people processes, started to handle scale. And the thing the team started to realize was, oh my gosh, this does work. I can let go of these things. Now what do I do? And it was like, that's a great question. What do you do next? After process, technology. The technology aspect doesn't stop with the OMS, but it was a big part for us because we did everything manually. Now we did have Solbright push to DFP, so yes, that worked, but I can't tell you the number of things the team did manually. With Operative One, as you guys heard, I think just in the prior presentation, we gained efficiencies because we're pushing targeting over. We gained efficiencies because, as an earlier presentation, we simplified our taxonomy. We gained efficiencies because guess what? We had a relationship with sales and we taught them how to use it. We taught them what you want to do with that. Get them involved in the process. So technology, Operative One, was a big part of that change. So this is our stack today. It's not very impressive. It's got holes. There are things that don't work well on it, but you know what? It's better, and it's continually improving. That's what this is about. You keep taking steps forward. You're never going to solve all these problems at once. You're never going to solve them all because one person has all the bright ideas. It's a collaborative effort. It's through relationships. It's through partnering. We still have a lot of things that we need to do, but this stack today is working pretty well for us. Results. Obviously, that's a 5-year roadmap slide. What were the results? Well, they were awesome. Next. No. We gained efficiency. There are things that we're not doing today that Opera is doing for us. Managed services today handles 70% of our trafficking for us. Creative assignment, things of that. They don't even have to do the targeting because Operative One does that. But overall, a 30 to 40% efficiency gain that allows reinvestment in our people to go do the next big thing. We have never, unlike many of you, we've never let our ad ops which I love the phrase of ad ops is really ad sales, so I'm stealing that. Rick, was that you? I can't see. Was you? I love that phrase. We've never let our ad operations team do anything revenue oriented. Now, everything they do is revenue oriented, and my phrase for them is they are the revenue engine, but everything had to go through product and sales. So in November, the week before Thanksgiving, not a great week to ask this request of the team, sitting down with Melissa and her team, mainly her leadership team, and I said, guys, I know you've explained this to me 1,000 times, and I'm not going to ask you to go through it again, but what if you had a wish list and you could go do anything you wanted within our people process technology for the month of December to generate revenue? And the only two constraints you have, you can't bother engineering and you can't bother sales. You have to do it. Now, I'm going to give you a week. Get back to me and let's talk about it right after Thanksgiving. So I went down the hall to my office. Not like 3 hours later, list of 19 things they wanted to do. And you could not, I didn't even care about the 19 things, but for the first time in a long time, bounding into the office with just enthusiasm and excitement, because that's what we've released. Operatives help us release letting people do things, add value in unique and different ways. And that was one of the first manifestations for me. I'm sitting back and I'm listening to this deck of 19. They even put it into a deck. For those of you who did decks for the table competition, shame on you. We didn't know they could do a deck. But they did a deck for this within 3 hours, and they gave me the 19 things, and I was just floored. We ended up implementing, I think, 9 of them. 4 of them really added significant revenue in the month of December. Downside, we told the CFO. Now we have a revenue goal for 2014. So it's just like, damn, you can't even just let us bask in the glory for a while. But it was an amazing thing because the team, they get it. We tell them. They see how they interact. They see how they're part of the value of Kelley Blue Book. But it was the first time it's like, I see it. That was me. That was something I did, generated X amount. That is amazing. And it was a really amazing accomplishment for us. The facts of where we are today, and I think many of you are in the same position. Since 2012, our custom ad units have grown 1,200%. Now that's an stat, that number doesn't even make sense. But when you look at it this way, when you do 10 custom ads in 2012, you're going to have a 4-digit % growth because that's where the market's at. You've all said it. Call it native, call it content generated, call it whatever you want. Our customers, your customers, want better. They want more. They want things that are more engaging, more compelling. They want to tie that audience in, draw them in, and yes, sell them a product at the end of the day, but really sell them an experience. Get them engaged, get them out of the mindset that they just saw an ad. Massive increase. We're not going to see 1,200% this year, but now we know, hey, we've got a new target. We've got a new way we hit the scale. But these things take significant time. They take time because unlike where we were in 2007, and Melissa and her team were in 2007, we're not traffickers anymore. They're not traffickers anymore. They're part of the product ideation process at the beginning. Not only coming up with ideas, but helping determine feasibility on the fly. RFPs we were talking about, and I've got to talk to that gentleman about RFPs and getting rid of RFPs. That was interesting. Growing by 1,000%. More importantly for us, for Kelley Blue Book as a whole, is we've never been very aggressive with RFPs. We got a little bit more aggressive last year. This year, we have an internal metric of if we don't win 150 RFPs, and we're not talking about upfronts and our incremental buys that come in all the time, we're talking about unique custom campaign RFPs. If we don't win 150, it's going to be a bad year for us. It's going to be something we missed. We don't get to 150 unless we find a way to unlock the potential in all the employees sitting in the organization that are doing tasks that can be done by systems or outsourced partners. That is how we're going to get to that 150. And I think we're going to blow it away. The future. One of the biggest struggles we have now is trying to, in working with our agencies, our true customers, trying to convince them we're not competing with you. You come up with the great campaigns. You come up with the messaging you want to sell to our ultimate manufacturer, to the ultimate customer. We want to help you do that because we've got the content, we've got the audience, And now we've got the skills and capacity to help you do these things that we didn't have before. Actually, it's been a tough message. They feel a little bit threatened, kind of like Melissa's team felt at the beginning when we talked about managed services. But we're going to approach it the same way that we've approached everything else. Loving, touching, squeezing each other. No. But yeah, relationship, education, collaboration, communication, as I think heard Kurt stated earlier. By doing those things, treating them again, not as a customer and agency, but as a partner, help them understand we are in this to make you look good. At the same time, we're going to look good. The ultimate result, customer is going to be very happy. Consumer is going to engage with a site that looks different. It has compelling content. Yeah, they're going to be there for the value, but they're going to stay for that content. And when they interact with that content, guess what? They're interacting with both of our messages because they trust us. And we're going to get them to trust you as well.